Hello friends, welcome to or back to my channel. My name's Eden and today I'm going to be finally giving you some romance recommendations. First we're going to start off with my physical books and then we're going to move on to my Kindle books. So the first book we're going to start off with is not necessarily a romance book, but it is a fantasy romance book and it's called Daughter of the Pirate King. Now I'm not into fantasy as much as I would like to be. I've only read 2 fantasy books and this was the first one and I really liked it. It's about this girl named Alosha and she is, as it states in the title, the daughter of a pirate king. And she has to go on this mission where she purposefully gets captured on an enemy's ship in order to retrieve something for her father, I believe. I read this a long time ago. It's YA, but all ages can read this. It's just really good. It's simple, it's easy, it's fast paced, there's romantic elements to it, there's action elements to it. I think the reason why this is such a good book, I would say, to start a transition into fantasy with is because it isn't high fantasy. It isn't crazy world building. There isn't loads of mystical and magical elements that you need to remember or that are put in this book in order for it to make sense. It doesn't have a crazy high fantasy element, but the fantasy element that it does have is a great introduction into the genre. Next we have First Down, which is a sports college romance. It is a football romance, which American football, sorry, cannot get them confused because I love American football romance books. Don't come to me with a British football or soccer book. I don't want to read that. I'm gonna be so honest with you. This is also fake dating and I believe she tutors him. Very similar to The Deal. If you like The Deal, you'll probably like this. This is such an easy, quick, short read to get you out of a slump. Very cute, fluffy, pleasant, just a nice average read. It's an average good. I love an average good read, and this is that. If you just need fluff, not too many things happening, get to the point, simple, lovely, quick, this is the book. Next we have a Mafia series which is called the Sinners Anonymous series. It has currently 3 books in it. I believe there will be 5 books total in this series. The first book is called Sinners Anonymous, the second book is called Sinners Condemned, and the third book is called Sinners Conceived. The first book follows Rory and Angelo, and the second and third book follows Penny and Rafe. In my opinion, the second book, which is Sinners Condemned, is the best out of all 3, but I think all 3 are good books. And the series consists of all 3 brothers' love stories. The third brother will have books 4 and 5. No earthly clue when they're coming out, but I am looking forward to them. Now to give some context, the way I normally rank books is very bad, bad, average bad, average, average good, good, very good, excellent. On that scale, where I would place these is good. They are not excellent, they are not the best things I've ever read, but they are, in total, I would give this series of 4 stars out of 5 stars. And that's very high for me. In total, the series I think is a 4 stars. First book I would say is 3.75 to 4 stars. Second I would say is 4.25 to 4.5 stars. And third I would say is a solid 4 star. Very good for if you want to get into Mafia. They're not too dark, they're not too heavy. And the first book, Sinners Anonymous, is an arranged marriage, but originally the arranged marriage is between Rory and Angelo's father. Angelo is the main male character, but Rory is set to marry Angelo's father until Angelo steps in and says, hey, actually no, I'm gonna take her instead. The next 2 books, I believe, are enemies to lovers. That's honestly all I can remember about these books, enemies to lovers. Also, the covers are great. The covers are brilliant. Look how perfectly they match. It just works. It just works. Next, we have Terms and Conditions, which I believe is my favourite marriage of convenience to date. It follows Declan and Iris. Declan's grandfather recently passed away, and in order for Declan to gain his inheritance and become the CEO of the family's company, he has to get married and have a child within a year. That is his grandfather's stipulations for him to inherit his inheritance. But Declan could not care less about marriage and kids. Doesn't want it, doesn't want the hassle. So he tells his assistant, hey, Iris, hello, could you please just find me a wife, any wife, just somebody who I can pay a lot of money to just be my wife, pretty much. But unfortunately, what a shame, the wife drops out. She says, bye, sorry, don't want to do this anymore. Just as they're about to announce their engagement. So what does Iris do? Being the great assistant that she is, she goes, hey, I'll step up. And that she does, friends. So it is marriage of convenience, workplace, boss and employee, I guess. It has all the stuff that you want in a fake dating marriage of convenience book. It's just lovely. It is part of a series called the Dreamland Billionaire series. I don't like the first one, haven't read the third one. You do not need to read the first one in order to read this one because they all are standalones. It follows 3 brothers. Declan is the oldest, Rowan has the first book, he is the middle child, I believe, and Callahan or Cal is the youngest and he has the 3rd book. Next we have another sports college romance, and this is called The Hardest Fall by LMA. I honestly cannot remember a single thing about this book. I'm gonna be so honest with you because I read it such a long time ago. I read it, I think, early 2022. I really liked it. It was a simple, good college. It wasn't hockey, it was football. If I'm gonna read a sports romance, I want it to be football. I don't mind hockey, but I would prefer it to be football. American football. I feel like there was one part in this which kind of just really irritated me, but other than that, I think it's a really great book. Okay, really great is pushing it. I would say it's a good book. Then we have the Made Men series. The Sweetest Oblivion, The Maddest Obsession, and The Darkest Temptation. The Sweetest Oblivion and The Maddest Obsession are probably my 2 favourite books ever of all time. Ever. And this is, again, another great Mafia series. The 3rd book is the darkest, and funnily enough, the 3rd book is probably the only book that I wouldn't necessarily recommend to you. It is very different from the first 2, and it's a lot darker than the first 2. If you like the kidnapping trope, read this. If you want to read a book where it has a kidnapping trope, read this. I just personally don't like the kidnapping trope, so I wasn't a fan. But the first 2 in the series, Sweetest Oblivion, is Nicholas Russo and Elena, not Gilbert, that's the girl from Vampire Diaries, Elena Abueli. And Nicholas Russo is the head of one mafia family, and Elena Abueli is the daughter of another mafia family. Now, Nico is supposed to be marrying Elena's sister, however, he ends up marrying Elena. The Maddest Obsession is Christian Alistair with Gianna Russo. She has family ties to Nicholas Russo in the 1st book, and Nicholas Russo and Christian Alistair work together in this 2nd book. And you do see Gianna and Christian in the 1st book as well. In the 3rd book, you also see Gianna and Christian, but you do not see Nicholas and Elena. These 2 were 5 stars. Darkest Temptation was 4 stars, or 4.5. Then we have an even darker book, if you want to get darker, and it's called The Mind F series. It is a compilation of 5 little novellas, and you can buy them as novellas. I read it on my Kindle and then I bought the book, which has all 5 novellas in one book. But I liked reading it on my Kindle because then it would say you finished the book and it felt like I've really accomplished something when I only read like 100 pages. This is fast paced, it is great, it is amazing, it is so good. If you want to read dark romance, read this. I didn't even read this for the romance. And I am a romance girl. Like, I'm not going to read a book if there's no romance in it. And don't get me wrong, there was romance in it, but that was not the main thing I was thinking about. The female main character in this series is probably the hands down my favourite female main character ever. Ever. You've got Lana Myers, I believe, and Logan something, don't know his last name. Lana is basically a serial, and she's trying to get revenge. You don't know the reason why, but she's trying to get revenge on these people that did her wrong in her past. So the best way she knows to get revenge, let's them. Because why not? Now, Logan happens to be an FBI profiler who is trying to figure out who the serial is. But little does he know, it's his girlfriend. Now, as I said, it is a series of 5 short novellas. The first 3 were the best. The last 2 let the series down. They weren't terrible. It's just I wish it went a different way. I wish the ending was different. Or the last 2 novellas were different because it just got really dramatic and really unnecessary really quickly. And obviously I'm saying it got really dramatic even though this is a serial who's just going around everybody, but it was even more dramatic than that. It got to the point where it was a little bit unnecessary. But overall, the series as a whole, fantastic. Oh my word. Highly recommend. Then we have something a whole lot lighter, which is Tutoring the Player. This is very similar to The Hardest Fall and also very similar to First Down. And it's very similar to The Deal, if you've read that, by Elle Kennedy. However, compared to the other 2, this is a hockey romance just like The Deal. It's pretty much The Deal, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It is short, it is quick, it is cute, it is easy, it is simple, it is a palette cleanser. That is probably the best way I can put it, a palette cleanser. It's nothing special, it's average good, but average good is sometimes what we want. Next we have The Favour by Suzanne Wright, which is another marriage of convenience workplace romance where she marries her boss. Vienna is the personal assistant to Dane, and of course he needs a wife, so he's like, hey Vienna, could you do me a favour please? And she says, you know what, Dane? I can. It was great, it was simple, it was cute, it was sweet, it was fake datey, it was, oh, we have to pretend, they can't see what we're doing, they can't know that this is fake. The last physical recommendation before we move on to my Kindle is the Redwood Kings series. This is a series that so far consists of 4 books. I'm not entirely sure if another book is coming, but the 4th book did end on a cliffhanger, so I assume another book is coming, hopefully. The books are The Darkest Note, The Ruthless Note, The Broken Note, and The Forbidden Note. Now, let me just say this right now. 4th book, go away, we don't need you, terrible. Not terrible, it's just, I'm not a fan of student teacher. Guess what this is, friends? Take a wild gander. But the first 3 books, which follows the same couple, love it. I don't normally like reading books where it's one couple over an array of books. However, these books really did keep me entertained. I read them in like 4 days, all 4 of them. That is pretty much unheard of for me. It is slightly a bully romance and a high school romance. Now, I personally don't like reading high school romances. And I don't like reading bully romances either, because why in heaven or earth are you bullying her? That's embarrassing. Go up to her and tell her you like her, okay? Stop being a child. But in this case, they are children. Well, they're 18, 17 to 18, but they act like they're 28-year-olds. Pretty much, I'm not joking with you, I thought this was Gossip Girl. It's very similar to Gossip Girl. They literally have a Gossip Girl. I've forgotten what she's called. I think she's called like Jinx, but she does exactly what Gossip Girl does. The similarities are uncanny. Now here's the thing, I didn't know if I should include these books because me and my friend have very similar tastes. I gave her these books and she said absolutely not. She didn't even get through the first book. She was like, I just no, thank you. So this isn't typically what I would normally recommend, but I would definitely say maybe give it a go. I honestly wouldn't gravitate towards these kind of books at all normally, yet here we are. I did, and I really liked them. So maybe give them a go, maybe don't, it's really up to you. Now onto my Kindle recommendations. The first recommendation is Blindside, which is another college sports football romance. I believe there's fake dating in there as well. Very similar to the other ones that I've shown you. I clearly am a creature of habit. I like finding the exact same books just with different names. It was simple, it was cute, it was sweet, it was short, it was relatively fast paced. Don't get me wrong, there's a couple of things in this book which I really did get irritated by. You know, in fake dating romances where they decide the best course of action to proclaim their love is to tell every single person and their mother that you had been fake dating? That happens in this book. Sorry if that's a spoiler, sorry if that makes you not want to read it, but that does happen. However, I did like the moment before that, so I would say still read it. Then we have Sleet Kitten. Absolutely nothing happens in this book. I'm gonna be so honest with you, nothing happens. And also, his nickname for her literally made me want to throw up. However, I really like the book. Why? I don't know. I think I was in a really big book slump and this really helped me get out of it because it was so simple. There was no 3rd act breakup. Everybody was communicating well. It was just a simple love story. Nothing happened. Yet I thoroughly enjoyed it. Sometimes you don't need a big plot. Sometimes you don't need everybody and their mother doing something. You just need the most simple book, especially if you just read like a really heavy book or a really dark book. All you want is a cute book, and that's exactly what this is. It is NHL, National Hockey League, I believe, where he is a hockey player and she's just minding her business. Honestly, she is just minding her business and it works for them. The last recommendation I have to give to you is a not so meet cute. This is a fake dating, I believe it's fake engagement. The main male character pretty much wants to close a business deal with some businessman, but the businessman seems to really be family oriented and he wants anybody he goes into business with to also share that trait. However, our main male character could not care less about family, so he decides, let's go get a fake fiance. Now, the majority of this book I did like. The ending of this book was I didn't like at all. It was very silly, it was very cute. It was a laugh out loud book. I did indeed laugh out loud. I don't normally laugh out loud to books, yet I laughed out loud to this, and that is a very big reason as to why I'm recommending that to you, because it was funny. There were some really funny parts in there. It wasn't life-changing, it wasn't life-altering, it was just cute. Yes, there were parts I didn't like, however, in this case the good outweighed the bad. It was a very average good book. That is the end of my book recommendations. I hope you were able to get some new recommendations out of this. Let me know if there are any more videos that you want to see. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.